All right, good afternoon, everybody out there in Takata 2, the center of the aerospace testing universe. I am Colonel Matt Caspers, Deputy Commander of the 412 Test Wing, and I am joined here today with Chief Master Sergeant Holdcroft.
Yes, sir.
Chief Holdcroft is the maintenance group chief. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Team Takata 2. I'm Chief Master Sergeant Joseph Holdcroft, the Senior Enlisted Leader for the 412 Maintenance Group. I am in charge of leading over 1,700 total force airmen and civil servants across 13 operating locations, 5 squadrons, and also the maintenance group commander, Colonel Brown's principal advisor on enlisted manning, morale, health, and welfare, along with quality force stuff. So originally from Griffin, Georgia, a little small town in middle Georgia, about 30 minutes south of Atlanta and about 30 minutes north of Macon.
Awesome.
Married to my beautiful wife and best friend, Crystal. We've been together 25 years and married for 23 of those 25 years. Thank you, sir. And we have three beautiful daughters. Olivia, who is a junior attending Kennesaw State University back in Atlanta. Allie, who is a junior at Desert High here, as well as Savannah, who is a freshman at Desert High. So we are ecstatic to be here, and thank you for having me on, sir.
Well, I am just absolutely delighted to share the stage with you. So there's been a lot of change in the 412 Test Wing over the last couple of weeks. So for those of you who were maybe unable to join us at the last broadcast was actually not here from the studio. It was from the base theater where Colonel Wickert, the brand new 412 Test Wing commander, hosted the second quarter wing awards program, which was a really awesome event. And I don't know, did anybody, there was like a Spirit Award or something?
There was. I think I recall what group might have won that.
One of those groups brought it.
Somebody kept saying, if it's in the air,
I don't know.
Maintenance put it there.
I think
Yes,
that's
sir.
pretty good. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so in case anybody who wasn't watching, Maintenance did bring it really strong, and they did take home the Spirit Award at the awards ceremony, which was absolutely fantastic. Earlier that same day was when General Heiger handed off the guidon to Colonel Wickert in the 412 Test Wing change of command, which is a really huge ceremony. It was awesome, well attended by the community, by the installation, and but we didn't stop the mission the whole time, right? Maintenance was out there, turning jets, and,
Yes,
and there was plenty of engine running
we have
noise.
quite
in the
a few
background.
aircraft taxi by while we were
It was awesome.
taking care of it.
And of course, as if that wasn't enough, shortly thereafter, we had a tropical storm, Hillary. I won't necessarily say pummeled the Southern California coast, but certainly points south did receive a whole lot of rainfall. And we, frankly, here in the desert also, we received more than our annual rainfall in a period of about 24 hours, which was pretty substantial. I want to give a shout out to all of the civil engineering group and all the folks who helped prepare and secure Edwards and make sure that the damage was minor. There was a little bit of damage, some roof leaks and things of that nature. And frankly, we also got pretty lucky in that the storm really essentially disintegrated as it was coming over the mountains into the valley. But it was a great team effort by all the folks to prepare, to include the maintenance group, getting the airplanes tied down and ready for the worst. And very thankful that it turned out to not be quite so torrential.
Team Edwards came through as always. So.
Indeed. Speaking of Team Edwards coming through, we've got a couple of awesome Warriors of the Week that we're going to meet here in just a few minutes. We're also going to be chatting with Mr. Bob Woodall from the American Red Cross. We'll have an update with you later on in the program on the FY23 Military Personnel Budget shortfall and what does that mean for our airmen and guardians here at Edwards Air Force Base who are getting ready principally to PCS, so we're going to get an update on that. And then we'll close out the conversation on Women's Equality Day, which is today. So, or is it tomorrow? I think it's today. At any rate, we were going to get an update on Women's Equality Day and have a great conversation there. And then, of course, we got some big events planned for this weekend. So without further ado, let's meet our Warriors of the Week. So with us here, we have Staff Sergeant Jacob Molina and Airman Angelina Opelt. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay, I tried it. But absolutely welcome to both of you for being here on the show. congratulations on being nominated by your leadership from OSS. You were both nominated for actually working the same emergency. There was an in-flight emergency involving some Navy and Marine Corps airplanes that were at an emergency fuel state, unannounced, and some other issues out in the airspace complex that required some really fast acting on both of your parts. So if I'll start with Jacob here, but if you could just tell us a little bit about that day and what happened.
Absolutely. Yeah, so normal routine day at Edwards. Wasn't very much flying at the time, and I got called up into position, worked local control, and out of nowhere, like you said, it was sporadic. 6 aircraft, min fuel, emergency fuel coming in. Had to separate them, had to get them down to the runway. They actually came in opposite direction. That's how low on fuel they were. So when something like that happens, it gets a little crazy up in the tower cab, but with a great team down there at Airfield Management, and we were able to get them on the ground and get them to where they needed to be.
Awesome. So Jacob, so you were in the tower cab. Are you an air traffic controller?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about what that's like, being an air traffic controller, for all the folks out there who have no idea what the day in the life is up in the tower cab.
Oh, here at Edwards, it's special. We are very unique, have almost every airframe. Not every other base has that. We have 13 different patterns, if not more. We have so many lakebed runways, all the runways that we have to deal with. So getting certified here at Edwards Tower is special to all of our team members. And, we deal with a lot up there. It can get a little hectic at times, but with the right team behind us and all of our civilian, I have to give a shout out to them. Our civilians are awesome. And, Edwards is just air traffic control. Just like everybody says, it can be a stressful job. But, it is one of the most, at least for me, one of the most exciting parts of my day is getting to talk to all these aircraft coming in, separate them, keep them safe. That's a big thing about it, is just, not allowing paint to scrape and no crashes. So, we're prideful over here at the tower that on the job that we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I have a question. Does it take longer to certify here at Edwards, or what are some of the challenges associated with all the dissimilar airplanes?
Aircraft characteristics, some fly fast, some fly slow, and then mixing them all into a 7-mile radius is quite unique. Not necessarily longer here to get certified in the tower. A little bit more difficult than most places. Most other places have 1 to 2 patterns, same airframes, so it's a little bit easier to keep them separated. But with all the lakebed runways, like I was saying, and all the different patterns, it's a lot more thinking and on your feet thinking. So.
Just like in when you get 6 jets coming in with emergency fuel unannounced.
Yes.
So sounds like that's terrific.
Yes, sir.
So where are you from originally? What brought you to the Air Force and to ATC?
Born and raised Middleburg, Florida, northern Florida, outside of Jacksonville. All my friends out of high school, they joined military, mostly the Marines, and they all told me to join the Air Force. But come from a small town, we're very patriotic, and I just wanted to do something with my life, get the ball rolling. I was in a job with my dad, and I just wanted to, go out on my own and travel the world and serve.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah, I know exactly where Middleburg, Florida is. So before I got to Edwards, I was at Moody Air Force Base.
Okay.
So it's right down the road. So
That's where I'm
got
trying
some
to go
friends
next.
there too. So great area. So
Yeah, that was pretty good advice from his friends there, right? To
definitely,
join the
sir.
Air Force. No?
Absolutely.
That's good. Terrific.
sir.
Absolutely. Probably best choice you ever made, right?
Sorry?
Best choice you ever made?
It was. It was, absolutely.
That's terrific. All right, Angelina, welcome and congratulations also. So Jacob told us a little bit about kind of the situation. Could you talk a little bit about what your role was in getting those 6 airplanes on the ground?
So whenever an IFE happens, really any emergency, tower calls us on a PCAS, and it rings out to not only us but a few other agencies. And from there, we take down all the information that they have and relay that to other agencies so we can get the fuel to the aircrafts, their parking spots, and if they need any transportation or guidance on where to go as well. But yeah. that's what we do on our end.
Oh, that's awesome. So in this scenario, it would have been you that had called down to airfield management to pass that information, get them prepped and ready to go.
Yes. One of our positions, they pass all the information, and those guys are right on the spot.
Oh, that's awesome. So Angelina, what's your airman story? What brought you to the Air Force, and where are you from?
I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I joined the Air Force because I come from a military family, and they're all Army. And they wanted me to join the Army, but I spoke to my stepdad's sister, and she was in the Air Force. And she told me the Air Force is way better. Don't listen to them. So I listened to her.
Yeah, so we got a lot of friends and family giving great advice on which service to join. That's terrific. San Antonio is also my hometown, so it's a great city.
Yes, it is.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, so you didn't have to go too far to get to Lackland.
No, very comforting, for sure.
No, that's terrific. What do you like to do in your spare time when you're unwinding from the stressful situations that work often puts you in?
I like to hang out with my friends, my coworkers, especially the ones that are on shift with me, because I know they're not doing anything either. So, especially living in the dorms, we're all near each other. So we just hang out, unwind, watch movies, play video games. Yeah, that's all.
Watch movies. Any favorite movies in particular? Or?
I like horror movies, personally.
Horror movies?
That's my genre. But my friends, I have to ease them into it. So right now, we just watch like comedy movies or action, stuff like that. Like today, we're gonna go watch The Meg Part 2.
The what?
The Meg.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
That looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a shark?
Yeah, it's a shark
Okay.
movie.
So looking at your hobbies too, so being from San Antonio, I'm assuming Cowboys?
Cowboys and Spurs fan.
And Spurs, okay.
Yes.
So
I know
Spurs.
Your home
I know the
team.
Spurs aren't that good, but they're gonna get better. So.
Nice.
That's right. Have the faith, for sure. And Jacob, how about you? What are some of the things you like to do when you unwind? It can be pretty high pressure up there in the cab.
I am, and it doesn't end on the weekends. I got 2 little boys running around. So being a father, I got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and then my beautiful wife back home. We like to be outdoors, hunting, fishing, although I can't do much of that out here. Big sports guy, and baseball, football. I still play it on the weekends, and so just being outdoors, and especially in this location of the country, is there's a lot to do around here. So
There is.
traveling
There's a
around
lot of
here,
outdoors.
so-
There is.
Outdoor rec's pretty awesome here. Yeah, no, that's terrific. And you also had on yours a goal of getting 100% on your PT test.
Yes.
That's
Get
an
better.
impressive goal.
Thanks. Day by day.
Day by day, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I am inspired by all the folks. Before Townhall, we get to watch the Team Edwards Squadron Throwdown video. I think that's going to be awesome. Hopefully, y'all are either participating or cheering on those in your squadron who are going to go out for that. That's going to be a really awesome. And it's important that we really prioritize fitness. It is
Right.
it is both really important for the mission and being able to do our jobs well, but also just for all around whole person fitness. So I'm glad that you've made that a priority and set that as a goal. It's really
Then
awesome.
when you can do it as a team effort,
Yes.
and have some fun with it, it just makes it even better, right? So.
And Jacob, you said you were playing sports. Are you playing here in town or on base?
I play in the AV Men's Baseball League. I do that at every intramural sport on base. I try to join. And then even on the weekends, I'll just get together with some buddies and toss the rock. I'm
That's awesome.
big football guy.
That's good.
Who's your teams in?
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, kind of
Don't hate
figured.
on me.
Okay.
They're up and rising. And then Atlanta Braves, so I can't complain.
Hey.
We're the best team in MLB.
Yeah. Get ready to go see them play in the
I am.
Dodgers here in a few weeks. So
Yes, sir. I'll be
they're
there.
coming to town. Nice. Nice.
That's a lot of
Good
fun.
time.
Absolutely.
Do you have big plans for the weekend? So we've got Rockfest here on base.
Yes, we
this weekend. It's going to be pretty awesome. FSS always goes well out, and this is going to be really great with the AFE and having 3 awesome bands, which I know we'll talk a little bit more about later. But do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Chief or me?
Not on the top of my head, sir.
All right, well,
To
while
be
you think
honest
about
with you.
it, I'll remind all the folks out there, dial in 707-412-8922. Text your questions. You can ask me, you can ask Chief, or you can ask our Airmen of the Week, our Warriors of the Week, Angelina and Jacob. So if you got questions for them on, their airman story, as well as, the situation they're in and their professions, please give us a shout, 707-412-8922. Did you think of a question yet?
For Chief, yes, sir. Just because you mentioned Moody earlier, and you said you came from Moody
I did.
prior to this, that's my number one on my
Is it?
DOP right now. I'm trying to get over there. It seems like they have a very cool mission, especially for air traffic.
They do.
Did you see any part of that where air traffic could be? I know they had the combat squadron over there. Were you guys part of that? How did you deal with them over there?
Yeah, so while I was at Moody, I was, that's one thing I didn't mention earlier. I'm a weapons troop by trade.
Okay.
So I worked and maintained on the A-10 aircraft, but we have folks on the C-130s, the A-60s, and the A-10s over there. So it's busy, very busy over there. So, and then everybody else that wants to come and do some exercises and stuff like that. So we enjoyed it. It was a great assignment for me and the family, being from Georgia.
Right.
But we were still a couple hours away from home, but it was definitely very enjoyable. And being a football guy, I'll tell you, it's Friday Night Lights. The whole town shuts down for high school football there. So, yeah, you definitely enjoy it. So hopefully, you can get that way soon. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's exciting. Angelina, do you have a question for us?
You're a football fan. Who's your team?
So I am a football fan. Being from Georgia, I'm a huge Georgia Bulldog. So I'm definitely enjoying the last two seasons, as we're riding high right now. So, but I'm also on the other end. I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, so not quite as good, as But it's always next year, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully we're going to turn around. But also a huge Braves fan, which, like I mentioned, we're getting ready to go to LA in a few weeks to watch them when they come to town. So I'm excited about going and checking out Dodger Stadium and actually getting to see the Braves play in person too. So
All right, chop on.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
Any big plans for you, sir?
Well, big plans. I mean, it's going to be my son's birthday this weekend,
Oh, nice.
so we're going to be doing a small celebration, at the house. Then,
So you're bringing Skillet, Hoobastank,
I know.
and the Dirty Hooks
Wow.
to town for his birthday?
That's right.
Special.
Yeah, I don't know if he appreciates quite how awesome that is, but
I'm sure he will afterwards.
He will afterwards. That's my hope. So that's pretty much the extent of it. The extent of it at our house is going to be Rockfest plus birthday party time. So
Busy weekend.
yeah, so gonna have two teenagers in the house now.
Oh, wow.
So
Hey, I know the feeling. I got 3 girls. They're all teenagers. One's grown, so it's have fun, sir.
that's
Have
good.
fun.
All right, so text in your questions, 707-412-8922. Before we clear off our Warriors of the Week, I guess I just have one question for each of you of, what's been kind of one of the high water marks of your time here at Edwards, whether it be on duty, off duty, what's something that's kind of stands out in your mind that, when you're having this conversation after you've PCS'd and someone asks you about, well, what was that assignment at Edwards like? What will you tell them?
I would have to say, about the mission. We do have one of the cooler missions here, and it took me 3 to 4 years to really figure out what that was. And what we do here is great for the rest of the Air Force. And I think personally, starting out here at Edwards for air traffic control specifically was one of the best things that could have happened to me. I can take my skill set anywhere else. So, looking here, you see some of the coolest stuff, every different airframe you can think of, and I think that's not something that everybody gets to see every day. So I think just being at Edwards alone was one of the best things.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jacob.
For me, I really enjoy my shop because I'm a very reserved and quiet person. But the people in my shop really brought me out a little bit. I'm still shy, but yeah, they really comfort me and just make me feel welcomed. So it was an easy start here. But yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Angelina. Teamwork and mission, right? That is an absolutely fantastic combination.
Yes, it is.
So I'm really glad that you were able to be here, and I'm glad we were able to celebrate your accomplishments and then also just get to know you, and so that all the folks out there could get to know you as well. So with that, we're going to clear off our Warriors of the Week, and next up we're going to have Mr. Bob Woodall from the Red Cross come and have a chat with us. Let's see, we have a question out there we've got a question. The question is, and I don't know if the question is to me or to Chief or to both of us. I'm assuming the question is to us collectively. Would you recommend doing Air Force Junior ROTC in high school? The individual is looking to be a pilot in the Air Force or in the airlines when they grow up. Yeah, so my put is 100%.
Absolutely.
Air Force Junior ROTC, wherever there's and frankly, wherever there's an ROTC program at a high school, it is a great way to determine if the military and a military lifestyle is, something that you're interested in. Also, it is a great way to build that resume if you are interested in becoming a pilot, because in order to become a pilot, you've got to go and get a degree. And you need to go through either the Air Force Academy, OTS, Officer Training School, or the ROTC program, commission, and then get to pilot training. So the junior ROTC programs are really great ways to springboard, to get access to the information about how to apply for all those different opportunities, and to prepare yourself. Chief, what's your take on that?
Absolutely agree with just trying it out while you're in high school, where there's no strings attached. I know for myself, I had no inclination of joining the military when I was in high school. Of course, in my high school, it was Army, ROTC. And then it wasn't until after I graduated high school, and actually my grandfather sat me down and was like, hey, what do you want to do with your life? I was like, I want to travel the world and get some college. So I joined the following spring, but definitely if you're looking at going to become a pilot, officer, and all that stuff, it's definitely the more experience you get, the more you can kind of figure it out a little bit, the better you'll be at if you do continue to go on and go on for that career path. So definitely recommend it.
Okay, and I think the other put, like Chief just mentioned, it's just a great opportunity to also be with other people who are pursuing potentially the same career. But if it turns out that that's not for you, or perhaps being a pilot or joining the airlines, there are many other. It's just another great way to be involved in school, and you could potentially off ramp into many other things. Right?
Absolutely.
It is not necessarily that you're shutting any doors. And so I guess I'd also offer is for those folks who do not have an opportunity to do a junior ROTC program, there are still many opportunities for joining the military and the Air Force. It is just one of many ways. So that's our bit of advice on junior ROTC. So thank you very much for the question.
Great question.
So 707-412-8922, you can ask Chief and me questions, whatever you got. But now let's go ahead and meet Mr. Bob Woodall from the American Red Cross. Welcome. Thanks very much for coming on to the program.
Glad to be here. I have a big announcement for you guys.
A big announcement.
Weren't here at the time, but in April, your base won the #1 military base award for blood donations in Southern California, and I'm so proud of that, to be a part of it.
That is
Be out here,
great news.
So thank you. Your 759 units of blood given that last year saved up to 2,750 lives. And that's amazing when people just think that 1 unit of blood could save up to 3 people who are in the hospital with some trauma, some surgery, some bad situation. There was an instance where we were at the hospital, Antelope Valley Hospital, a few weeks ago, and the chief doctor at the emergency department said that one patient with a severe car accident took 50 units of blood.
Wow.
Colonel, that's 50 people that saved that gentleman's life. So that's how much blood has an impact in Southern California. The 2 hospitals in Antelope Valley use 70 units a day, every day. Wow. So your blood drives every month provide about 1 day supply at the hospitals. So, and that's important because of the other hospitals that use 300 units a day in Los Angeles. We have other blood drives, of course, in San Fernando Valley and LA. Ventura County, but your base has made a big contribution. And I'm not sure if it's up yet, but there is a slide of the award that Lieutenant Colonel Sterling had accepted for us. And Nicole, did that get up?
I don't know if we have.
It's not up there yet. But anyway, there he
we
is.
go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We have the executive of our company. We have one of the chief battalions of the fire department. And we have Lieutenant Colonel there from the base. And we're very proud of you. And thank you for doing all of that.
Well, that's terrific. We are really glad that we're able to be a part of that. And I know that it's, like you said, really important that we have that outreach to all of the folks here on the installation to be able to volunteer their time, be able to get over there, to those blood drives, and then actually give back. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come here and thank all those folks who actually take the time to go over there and donate blood. I mean, it really is an important thing that we do as a community. So,
Yeah. Thank you, Team Edwards, and please continue
That's
to
right,
donate.
Team Edwards. I have to also say that your commander, former commander, during COVID, we had a crisis that nobody thought that they could give blood. Well, your commander said that blood donation is an essential service. We were allowed on base during
Absolutely.
COVID. When the HP con was really at a high level, we were still allowed to come on. Your soldiers and your enlisted people and your contractors were allowed to come to the blood drive. And again, in 2020, 2021, another large amount of donations. So your folks have really contributed to our Southern California cause.
Awesome.
So our appeal is for people to give blood. We're sitting right now at we're on target to collect about 664 units, a little bit less than 759, but with a little bit more encouragement, a little bit more appeal, I think we can get to that 750 number again this year, and we'll compete nicely in our award ceremony. So I'm gonna ask if people would just consider giving blood. It's easy. Most everybody can give blood because if you're healthy and you're normal and you're not sick and you're not on an antibiotic, you probably can give blood. Let me give you a couple advantages of giving blood. We are now learning that there are some factors in blood that we didn't know before. So for instance, some people have baby blood. You have a number of blood donors here that have baby blood, which means they have a factor that they can give to a newborn and not pass on a factor called C negative. So we're looking for people that have baby blood and they don't have the CMD negative. We're looking for African American donations because those donors can find out if they have a factor that could help a sickle cell patient. They don't know that until they give blood. So you learn your blood type, you find out what hospital it went to, you find out if you have a factor in your blood that could help a specific patient that we need. One of our donors' blood went to Guam. Now we service all of America, including territories and possessions. So one unit of blood went to Guam that had to have something in it that they needed badly because they have blood in Guam.
Very interesting,
But
yeah.
that donor had something that they needed. So I encourage people to give blood for that reason. If you've had a tattoo, that's okay, because most people get their tattoos in a shop, a studio, and that's okay. They can give blood the next day if they have a tattoo. If they had a piercing, same thing applies. The only thing we're aware of that we don't need to take blood is somebody taking an antibiotic, and that's about the only reason we can't give blood today. So
Okay.
our appeal is for everybody to give blood, join in, and we're here coming up on September the 5th and the 6th. We're going to be at the Oasis Club, and I want to thank Chapel One and Deb Merrill for providing Chapel One for us for the last year during some issues. And number two, that slide is a little bit wrong. I think there's a wrong year on there possibly, and that was one of those ready, fire, aim moments of mine. But anyway, the one that we are promoting.
The top is correct.
The
Right,
one we are
September
promoting
6th.
is September the 5th and 6th
Okay.
at the Oasis. And we want to thank all the team at Oasis for having us there. And then the Public Affairs Group. I want to thank Adam, and I want to thank Carlo, and I want to thank Danny. All the promotions that they've helped us get onto base because it gets
Awesome.
onto the tower.
Right.
And then they put out a special appeal last month in August when we were really failing. They put on a special appeal and it got 55 donors came in that day.
That is
Wow,
great
that's
news.
actually terrific. So thank you again to all of the individual members of Team Takata 2 for showing up and frankly competing, right? And getting out there to donate blood. It's a really important thing, Bob. We really appreciate it. We were humbled by the opportunity to be able to contribute in this way. And for all the folks who didn't see it, the slide that's up there, since we got a question in of when the next blood drive is, it is at the Oasis Center, and it's September 5th and 6th?
That's correct.
September 5th and 6th, not 6th and 7th. Well, the 6th, yes, but 5 and 6 September. So coming up right around the corner. So head over to the Oasis Center, not the chapel this time.
That's right.
Not the chapel. So Oasis Center, and donate blood and help save a life, or many lives, 2,000 lives, as the case may be in this case. So, Bob, I really appreciate you coming on the program
pleasure.
today, and thanks
My
for
honor.
helping to raise the awareness, and we're glad we're able to contribute.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Chief. Let's see what next. We need to. I think we're gonna have a chat on the military personnel budget shortfall and
We are.
update all the members of Takata 2. What's the current status of that? That was a fast-moving ball game there. So text your questions in 707-412-8922. So we're gonna have Master Sergeant Bell and Staff Sergeant Garner here in just a little bit. While we let them get mic'd up, let's talk about the Air Force Ball.
Yes, sir. The Air Force Ball's coming up. I seen another invite go out reminding everyone earlier today, but it's 16 September at Club Maroc. They're going with the old Hollywood glam theme. Starts around 1700, goes to 2100. There will be childcare available through the CDC for a fee for up to 4 hours. Tickets, like I said, tickets are on sale now. Under the BX, you can get them online through Cash App or the BX, and the team will be out there on Tuesdays and Thursdays during lunch selling tickets at those locations as well. There'll be surprises throughout the night. You definitely won't want to miss it. But so they're changing it up a little bit this year compared to what we had in the past. I know last year we had it in Building 1600 in the maintenance hangar, but this year we're actually going to go and take over Club Maroc. So it's not going to be in just the one ballroom. It's not going to be just one dance floor. They're having 2 dance floors, taking over the whole club. As I mentioned, Poncho's and Fogelman's Bar will be open as well for some specialty drinks that our team will be serving. And it's so we're opting out of the standard guest speaker. It won't be much of a sit-down dinner. There will be areas to sit down and eat at, but it's going to be more of a standing, dancing, mingling, and with heavy hors d'oeuvres.
It'll be a party.
Yes, sir.
A rockin' party.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. I always enjoy the Air Force balls. I've been to quite a few throughout my career, and they just keep getting better and better. So I'm really excited about this one this year, sir.
So what I heard is you got to get a party shirt.
Oh, definitely. If you don't have it, you're already behind. So.
Gotta get one. That's awesome. That's good.
You don't have one, sir?
I do not have one. I need to get one. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've worn mess dress more here in this year than in the entire previous 2 decades of my Air Force time. So I've been enjoying it. The Air Force Ball last year was awesome, and I'm really excited what the committee has put together this year. So you mentioned childcare, right? I think the price was $40 for 4 hours through the CDC. So that's a really awesome benefit to be able to do that. $40.
We're also having it here on base at the club, so it's easy for the folks that live on base. But the folks that are outside the gates, hopefully we're giving everyone enough time to kind of get that squared away so they can come and enjoy it.
And they can buy tickets. How do they buy tickets?
Through Cash App, and then also there'll actually be some folks in person at the BX on Tuesdays and Thursdays around lunchtime selling tickets as well.
All right.
There's a lot of emails going out to reserve your tickets. So.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, now it's. Oh wait, what do we get here? Okay, never mind. That was a false alarm. That was a false alarm. Not actually a question. All right, so with that, it's time to pivot over and chat with our team here from the FSS to talk about the FY23 Military Personnel Budget shortfall. So we've got Master Sergeant Bell and Sergeant Gardner here. So if you would, I'm going to pass it over to you because I know you've got a lot of content to get through. so that you can let all of the folks out there give them an update. Because obviously when we're talking principally PCSs, you know, can be a very disruptive time to a lot of folks' life where there's transition, and obviously whenever that gets delayed, upset, or whenever there's challenges associated with that, that can be a very emotional time for folks. So this is an opportunity for y'all to dial in, send your questions, 707-412-8922 to Master Sergeant Bell or Sergeant Gardner. Get your questions in, or you can ask me and Chief. If we can't answer, we'll figure it out offline and get the answer back out there. But I think you'll have some charts that you want to show, but I'm going to turn it right over to you.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Master Sergeant Bell. I'm the MPF Flight Chief in the 412 Force Support Squadron, alongside with the NCOIC of Career Development, Staff Sergeant J.D. Gardner. Today we'll be talking about the PSDM 2367, which addresses the PCS shortfall that happened on 11 July and then got rescinded on 21 July. There's been some updates to the PSDM that came out on 9 August that addresses certain changes and updates that have been made.
Are we able to throw the charts up? Yeah,
Thank you so much, guys. So we're going to go over a quick overview. We will talk about the references. We're going to jump into part one, the PCS pause, who are impacted, who are not impacted, and the ETP process.
Part two will be going over retirements and separations, members that are impacted, non-impacted, the ETP process, and the expedite process.
And part three will be about the bonus pay. And then finally, we're going to turn it over to a questions and answers procedure. Yep. Next slide, please. So the references. So what governs this? What's driving this? The PSDM 2367. So as I said before, 11 July, we had put a stop to all PCS for fiscal year 23. And then we said that stop on the 21st of July to allow PCSs for the fiscal year 23. There have been different updates that's been rolled out. The one that rolled after that was on 27 July, and then the final one that came out was on 9 August 23 with a lot more changes and updates that were made in there. We're going to talk about DAFMAN 362102 and how it rolls and feeds into the PSDM, DAFI 362110 assignments, DAFI 363211 military separations, FY26-3203 service retirements, and finally, everybody's favorite, everybody likes to get paid, the fiscal year 23 selected re-enlistment bonus listing. So part one, the PCS pause. This is what everybody wants to know about, right? The MPF, your team here at Edwards Air Force Base, we're not authorized to curtail the PDD for impacted members. We're also not authorized to issue letter in lieu of orders and process any accelerated orders. But what we're able to do for you guys we're able to curtail non-impacted PDDs, we're able to extend those projected departure days, and we're able to continue processing orders.
So does curtail mean shorten?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So move up to the left or earlier projected departure dates.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
So this next slide shows the members that are impacted by this PCS, right? So members with no orders in hand and the ones that have a CONUS assignments with an RNLTD or a projected departure date on or after 1 October 2023. Any member that has a CONUS overseas long tour with a projected departure of 1 October 23 with this following tour lengths: 24 months, 36 months, and 48 months. I want to make a big note that's on the side at the bottom, but I'll reiterate it again. If you already have authenticated orders, members may update the projected departure date and the report no later than date using the normal routing methods and submit it through the request in MyVector.
Got it.
Yes. So this next slide talks about the non-impacted members when it comes to PCS. So the ones that are not impacted, right? Members with orders in hand, that means that they've already been authenticated and approved by AFPC. Any overseas long tour assignments with a projected departure date or DEROS on or before 31 August 2023. Any overseas short tour assignments, members with an assignment for command or formal training, expedited transfers, humanitarian assignments, EFMP reassignments, or threatened persons assignments. Non-impacted members may update their projected departure dates and report no later than dates using the normal routing methods via their squadron commanders and submit the request in via MyVector.
Okay.
So this exception to policy has changed. So in the prior PSDM, the one that came out on 21 July, it said that for you to get an ETP, it had to go up directly to the MAJCOM commander. They made a change to this. You could request the order process as an exception to policy, by getting it endorsed by the 412 test wing commander. So now it's just that it's done at the base level instead of going directly to the MAJCOM. You have to have justifying rationale, and you have to have supporting documentation to support this. Once it's approved from the test wing commander, then it gets sent up to APC DP3AM for their final approval. Now, the biggest thing I want to note on this one, now, commanders at any level may disapprove a PCS ETP. So if it goes to your squadron commander being that you don't have enough justifying rationale to disapprove there, that's where it stops. For the general officers and colonels or chief master sergeants and or JA members, ETPs will be routed through the applicable offices such as A1LG, A1LO, A1LE, or the Air Force JA for adjudication. Now, this is the biggest note I want to make. If you have an assignment and you do not have orders in hand, please do not make any irrevocable commitments such as purchasing an house or selling your property that might cause a financial hardship, because you more than likely will not be reimbursed.
That is a great point.
It is.
We got a foot stomped at 1,000%, right? Commanders, directors, SELs, supervisors at every echelon needs to be aware of the fact that, yeah, if you don't have orders in hand, don't make those plans.
All right.
Yes, thank you. All right, so here's how the exception to policy will work, right? You go through MyVector, you then submit that approved ETP through My Applications, click on the My Application button and click on APC Relocation, then click on PCS Order Exception Waiver Request. Once you do that, you'll submit it to the APC DP3AM. If that doesn't work, you take your approved ETP letter and send it to the org box that's in this PowerPoint slide, which is apc.dp3am.workflow@us.airforce.mil.
Okay.
Now, ETP requests are needed for impacted members who desire a projected departure date curtailment. If you're pushing your projected departure to the left, or any report no later than date change. If you need any orders or authentication that's after with a projected departure date of 1 October 23 or later, that's when you will need an ETP request.
Got it.
Now I'll turn over to part 2 to Staff Sergeant Gardner.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so part 2, they released information about the retirements and separations regarding this PCS pause. They have solidified that now applications submitted on or after 4 August and members that are separating with a January 2024 or later date will be impacted. And then members that are applying for retirement effective April 1st, 2024 or later will also be impacted by this pause. So that means if you were able to submit your request to separate or retire and by 3rd August of this year, then you are not going to be impacted by this PCS pause. So the Department of the Air Force will continue to accept and process voluntary applications, so ensure you're still applying. Once the pause is lifted, they will prioritize based off of effective date and participation in the skill bridge program. Just make sure to include that application when you do apply. These cutoffs were determined based off of reducing the fiscal year 23 expenses and preventing any violations with the Anti-Deficiency Act.
All right. No, that's great.
And again, non-impacted members, so if you already have retirement orders or if you have separation orders, if you applied on or before 3 August and have an established separation date in January or later, members who have applied on or before 3 August and have an established separation date in February and attending in-person skill bridge. All medical retirement and separations are non-impacted. Members may contact APC to confirm if their date of established separation was on or before 3 August 2023. And their number is 210-565-0102. DSN is 665-0102, option 2, and then option 6. Members may still apply for the skill bridge program during this pause, but please consider the delay in receiving orders when scheduling training. The ETP process for the retirements and separations is a little bit different from the PCS process. For retirement or separation expedited or just consideration of orders, You want to get your MFR endorsed by the test wing commander and then sent directly to the DP3SA org box. Same as the PCS pause, commanders may disapprove at any level and ensure not to make any irrevocable commitments that will create a hardship associated with preparing for this move until you get orders in hand. And we do want to note that come 1 October, they did release in the PSDM that they will start moving back to normal operations. This is primarily focusing in on the members that are planning on departing within the next month or two.
Okay, that's really great information.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So the expedite request, right? So one thing I want everybody to know, MPF or CSS are not authorized to submit expedite requests. The member must initiate these requests. Non-impacted members, they have to utilize My FSS to request an expedite request on their separation or retirement order, just like Sergeant Farmer was saying. If you want to find it, so you can see at the bottom of the slide, it says My FSS search, separation and retirement inquiries, and then create a request. It would be the button down right below the separation and retirement inquiries in My FSS.
All right.
So part 3, everybody loves to talk about money. We're here to talk about the selective reenlistment bonus and all the miscellaneous pay programs that are associated to this. So 24 July 2023, the fiscal year 23 regular Air Force Legacy Aviation Bonus Program was restored. So funding was restored to that program. For selective retention bonus, it was restored on the 21st of July. The fiscal year 23 SRB listing will be utilized. That's the one from 5 April 2023, so this year. Members who may have utilized a personal convenience reason to extend due to the pause between 11 July 23 and 21 July 23 may cancel that extension for immediate reenlistment or have the remaining service obligation waived. It must have occurred on the same day, though.
Okay.
Then the following one is see also assignment incentive pay was also restored on 11 July 2023, and the same with the FLPB CONUS pay was also restored. For FLPB, please note that's not an MPF ran program, that's ran by the Education Office. So please refer to the Education Office for all questions related to FLPB.
Okay. Awesome. I think that's it. You know what? That was short and sweet. You know, very dense. A lot of good information in there. So I think big question we want to put out there is if folks have a question on that, where should they go? Who should they reach out to? There's obviously the PSDM that they can go out and read in detail. But if they want to talk to somebody to make sure that their case, their situation, understand their situation, who do they reach out to?
They could contact the 412 FSS MPF flight, the career development section.
Okay.
They'll brief them about anything relating to the assignments process, so that way we could get them up. If they want, they also could contact their CSS. They have the PSDM process. We send out weekly messages about any updates that come on in relation to the PSDM. Or if you want to come physically in person, you come over to Building 3000 to the MPF flight, walk right directly through the double doors, look to the right, and we will be right there just waiting to assist.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I really appreciate it, Lyndon. Thank you. JD, thank you very much for coming on the program and explaining this. Is obviously caused a lot of consternation for folks because it was a bit of a surprise. I'm glad the Air Force was able to restore a lot of that funding, but obviously there's still some folks who are impacted. So I appreciate you walking us through the steps here, and I hope you have a very, very enjoyable weekend.
Yes, thank you guys.
All right. You'll have a good one. All right, so while our next guests who are going to talk to us about Women Equality Day get mic'd up, speaking of the weekend, Rockfest.
Yes, sir.
It's
I
gonna be
hope
pretty
everybody's
awesome.
coming out. Yeah, so if you're not tracking, I don't know why you're not tracking, but tomorrow here at Wings Field, we have Rockfest going on. I think the gates open at 5, kicks off at 6. We have a few bands coming. Starting off will be the Dirty Hooks.
Okay.
We'll start off. I think they're from research. They are out of Las Vegas.
Okay.
Indie alternative garage band. Great music. But the other two bands I do know pretty well is Hoobastank. I've seen them twice already. They put on an amazing show. And then topping it off is Skillet. You know, they are an amazing band. I've seen them, I think, 4 times already. From being stationed at Moody, that they would come through there prior to COVID kicking off and prior to us PCS in here. they would come through, and that was kind of mine and my oldest daughter's the thing. We do a
awesome.
daddy-daughter day at the park, and then top it off with watching Skillet perform. So, yeah, it's going to be an amazing time. I know our FSS folks and teammates put on a lot of effort goes into one of these events. I know they're out there right now putting up the stage. So it's going to be a huge event for us here at Edwards and Team Takata too. So I'm very looking forward to it.
No, that's awesome. And thanks for mentioning the volunteers putting up all the tents and the stage right out on Wingsfield right now. Everybody's getting ready for Rockfest. Thank you very much to all the volunteers who are out there setting up and getting ready for tomorrow and who are volunteering tomorrow to make sure that this happens. So hope that everybody from the from 93524 and 23, right? Everybody who works and lives here at Edwards Air Force Base and Air Force Plant 42 is able to come out and take advantage of that. So
you do not want to miss it.
You do not want to miss it. It's good. All right, so we've got our next guests on the stage with us now. So we've got Ms. Carolyn Boron and Ms. Valerie Kettering, and with us both. What units are you each from?
I'm the Deputy Director of the 775th Test Squadron.
Outstanding. And Valerie?
And I'm in the 771st Test Squadron Matrix to the Global Reach CTF.
All right, terrific. And so we're going to talk about Women's Equality Day. And so can you correct me to 100%? Is it today, tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, the 26th. Okay. All right.
You're close.
All right. Well, that's good. So, but it's August 26th, so that's tomorrow.
Correct.
Today's the 25th. I forgot to tell everybody that today's the 25th out there at the beginning. But so tomorrow, August 26th, is Women's Equality Day. Well, how is that different than Women's History Month back in March?
Yeah, absolutely. So Women's Equality Day celebrates the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which I think the name is a little misleading, right? That was the ratification of the right to vote, but only for white landowning women. And those weren't the only people that fought for women's suffrage in that movement either. In fact, it took another 45 years for Black women to get the right to vote, and there are still places in the country where others struggle to vote today. So that is the focus of this day. It's celebrating an achievement, but also reminding us that we have a long way to go. When we make a milestone, we want to keep pushing, so there's more equality for everyone, not just a specific subgroup. And I view Women's History Month as telling the stories of women that aren't commonly told in history books, but impacted our country and the way that we view the world today.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much for that. And it's awesome. Thanks for highlighting, voting rights. That's an important aspect, and frankly, we also have a number of folks who, as additional duties, are voting officers in the government. So thank you for reminding all of our viewers out there about just how important it is to vote and make sure that folks from all walks of life are exercising that privilege, since it was obviously so difficult for so many folks to get enfranchised. All right, so what are some of the particular types of either events or concepts or things that we should be thinking about as we celebrate Women's Equality Day?
So if you want to bring up the slides, the first thing that we want to show is we are celebrating that this year was the first all-female group of naval aviators to do a flyover at the Super Bowl. So continuing to make history every year, we're doing a little bit more for women, and there's still room to grow, right? So I think the next slide we're going to talk a little bit about the mentorship program we have and allyship. So we have a mentorship program that Valerie actually started last year on base that we're trying to expand and get the name out and get more mentors and mentees recruited. We have a Teams page, and I'll let Valerie kind of take over with talking about mentorship and allyship and how it can relate to women's equality.
Absolutely. So I get the question a lot. Women's Equality Day sounds great, but what can I do, especially if I don't identify as a woman? Why should I care? Why is it important? And I think what we need to remember is that there's a lot more that everyone can do to reach out and make sure we're kind of addressing barriers that folks are still facing, either in the workplace at Edwards or more broadly in society. So a great way to do that is to become a mentor for someone who may not look like you, have the same experiences as you, but you think they can benefit from your wisdom. That would be what I'd prompt folks to do is, one, go out and vote this year. It's really important, as every year, to use that right to vote to make a positive change, but also if you want to know how to help, have conversations with other folks with different backgrounds to see how you can help them succeed in the workplace. But the mentorship program is a great way to do that. We're always looking for more mentors and mentees, so please go to the team site if you're interested. We'd love to have you participate.
Okay, so how do you join the mentorship team? Is it so it's on the Microsoft Teams on AFNet?
Yeah, if you
Yes.
bring up the
Okay.
slide again, there's right at the bottom where it
okay.
says request a mentor. That code is what you would type in Teams to join the team.
And it's open to anyone on base. We primarily have engineers in the program right now, but we're hoping to expand it to all different job types. So if you're interested, sign up. The more folks we have sign up, the better we can pair folks with people who might be able to help them.
And so the program is for all people on base?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And the goal is to make sure that folks who want mentorship but might not have it organically in their groups have access to it. Because there are some groups on base that are doing a fantastic job of grassroots mentorship or informal mentorship, but unfortunately it's not available to everyone because there are other groups that aren't as focused on it. So our goal with the program is to give mentees who are interested in a one-on-one mentorship scenario but don't have it easily accessible that opportunity.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think for me, another benefit of it, hopefully opening it up to the larger base population, is a lot of times I find that I live in the engineering bubble because I work for the test engineering group, and I just don't interact that much with people outside of TE&G.
Yeah.
And so when we do things like women's equality, like we had a coffee chat this morning, when I advertise it to people I know, it was just the test engineering group because I don't really have context outside of that. So having a larger group for the mentorship program where we can all interact with each other and learn from each other and hopefully expand from outside of what we do day to day would be a great opportunity.
Just another way to connect too.
Absolutely.
The force and just make us all better.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's terrific. So that the mentorship program isn't necessarily related to Women's Equality Day, but it's just another great avenue for where you can help expand that base of available mentors, and mentees can find a place to help get resources. That's fantastic. Thank you for working that. And so there it is again. So if you want to copy down that code so that you can join the team on AFNet. So obviously you got to be, in order to join this team, you've got to be on, you've got to have a CAC and be on AFNet. But so I'm assuming then it means that's open to all Department of the Air Force military and civilians.
Correct.
Government civilians. Okay, well, that's awesome. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for taking the time on that piece. Now, you mentioned earlier mentorship versus allies. Could you expand on that just a little bit?
Valerie's got a really good experience.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So allyship is basically advocating and supporting for folks that might not have the same experience or worldview as you. So I have a very unique experience in my body based on the way that I was raised, factors that I didn't just necessarily decide, like race and gender. And I have my worldview, but there are other folks who have different worldviews. And if I want to support them, I would become an ally, basically saying, I may not have the exact experience as you, but I support you, and I want to do everything I can to remove barriers that might be in your way. And so mentorship is a great way to be an ally to folks who have different backgrounds or experiences. Coming together and having conversations and developing each other professionally and personally is a wonderful way for both the mentor to grow and learn from someone with a different worldview, but also for a mentee to benefit from experience that they might not have gained from their family or their community because they might not have access to the same resources that a mentor might. So it's a good way to take action if you're feeling helpless or want to get involved but don't know how. Mentorship's a good step.
No, I really appreciate that message, and I'll emphasize that here as well. Particularly in the context of Women's Equality Day, right? Chief and I are not women, and so that's a really great way to to highlight the fact that this is a way we can get involved and support and be allies and help, because that is not our experience is not going through the world as women. So a lot of the times, right, we could be very well blind to many of the obstacles, hurdles, and challenges that women have faced along the way. I know when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned an AI algorithm that did not correctly identify women. Could you talk a little bit more about that? It was really interesting.
Yeah, so going back to the first slide, and then we'll skip to the third slide. But so the third slide has a bunch of books that, if it's resources if you want to learn more. One of them is called Invisible Women, it talks about how the world has been, men are used as the standard default when pretty much everything happens, anything's developed. And so I thought it was interesting that if you go back to the first slide, it's that group of female naval aviators, and PowerPoint has at least new to me, feature where they have an accessibility feature where if you put a picture up, it uses AI to generate a description of what's in that picture. And it took this picture, and the suggested description was a group of men poses together. So I think it was an ironic way to highlight that there's still a lot of work to do. AI obviously sees a group of people dressed in military uniforms and assumes that it's a group of men. Their hair is pulled back. So there's work to be done. And if you go back to that last slide again, there's other books that our tech library put together as a list of resources if you want to learn more about women's equity. The little QR code in the corner there will take you to the tech library website where you can gain access to Hoopla and other ways to access these books if you want to read them or listen to them. One of them that I wanted to highlight was the Invisible Women book, and I think I really enjoyed it because it highlights how the world is designed for men without really blaming, right? So they're not saying like men suck because, the world's built around them. It's highlighting where these things exist and how we can fix them and how small changes can have big impacts. So one of the examples they use is there's a town in Sweden that looked at the process for clearing snow after a snowstorm, and most major cities will clear the major roads first, then the side roads, then the sidewalks. But in this town, they looked at what happens if we clear the sidewalks first. So people who are trying to get access to public transportation, having to use the sidewalk, they walk to work, they bike to work, whatever. If we clear that first, and then we clear the roads after like a relatively minor snowstorm, so like a couple inches of snow, something where you could not easily, but you could relatively safely drive if you had a car, but not necessarily as safely walk. They reduced the number of injuries pedestrian injuries that occurred by 50%, and saved the town the equivalent of $3.5 million in medical expenses over the course of that winter. So that also impacted women because 69% of those injuries were women. So it just shows that in that town, and typically where we're not really noticing, right, is the unpaid labor of women and all of the things that women do where they're more reliant on public transportation, so they're more likely to be in those situations where it's unsafe for them, and things you can do to change it. And another example that they had, and this might be a little bit awkward, but I think it's really important to highlight there's a lot of documented examples in health where men are the ones that are studied more often, things are tailored to them. There's the example of the heart attacks, right? Women are often misdiagnosed because the symptoms of a heart attack are different than women and men. And this is a well-known fact, and it's documented, but it's just not out there, and doctors aren't paying attention enough when they see women that have heart attack symptoms of a woman. They're turned away far more often for anxiety or whatever reason, and far more likely to die. But additionally, the drug Viagra was briefly studied and showed promising results in treating period pain, which can make a significant impact on a woman's life. A lot of women suffer from severe pain during their period. They might have to take time off work. They might not be able to do the caregiving that they need to do. But the research for that was shut down because it was deemed not profitable to study for that reason. So something that, it's a drug that already exists. All they had to do was go through the process of getting it approved for a different use, and it could have a significant impact in the lives of half the population, but additionally in the economy, because when you have to take time off work or you can't take care of your kids, it has an impact that has a trickle effect beyond just you.
Thank you for sharing that. I had heard a couple of those anecdotes before. Did that come from the book Doing Harm that you have on the list?
So I've only actually read Invisible Women, so that came from that book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yeah, I look forward to reading the other books that I haven't had a chance to read yet.
Yeah, I think what's really striking about what those anecdotes and the stories that those excerpts that you shared there on, healthcare, it's really just getting after some of what our fundamental assumptions are for how we operate in the first person when we talk about, what are our life experiences, right? So what are the things that we assume about whether it be any number of things that we encounter in our life that, for example, just Chief and I are not going to have thought about, the advantages of potentially, Viagra improving period pain, right? So that just bringing that to an awareness so that you can examine all the other things in your life. When we, and I think about when we talk about human factors for aircraft, just when we think about a test plan and when we think about how we design the test, making sure that you're examining the fundamental assumptions of who's going to be the user, and making sure that you think about all the different folks who might be using a particular tool or needing to open a door, or it's just that first step of what's my experience and how can I seek information and data about what other people might experience in the world. So, I don't know. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to research the topic, putting together this list. This is absolutely terrific. I look forward to diving into this.
The tech librarians, I'm going to give them credit for that, are TENG 812. TSS Tech Library put that list together for us and put information on how to access it if they had copies of the book. So that's my little plug for them.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make a joke to make it sound like light, but I mean, it's like left-handed scissors. I mean, those are just that's just a really fundamental, basic thing that we all encounter every day, but because we aren't thinking about it from that framework, the Invisible Women Data Bias in a World Designed by Men, that looks like a great title. Thank you for highlighting that here, and the ways that folks can get access to the books. And so thanks to the Tech Library very much for putting together this list. Valerie, thank you very much for the explanation on allies and mentors and offering a way, a grassroots way for folks to get involved and roll up their sleeves and frankly get after combating injustice in the world, right? One step at a time. And Carolyn, thanks for all the work that you've done. I know you've been a big activist across the installation, not just on Women's Equality Day, but on a whole host of issues. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. We cannot change the world without folks like Valerie and Carolyn who are helping to raise awareness. Just to begin with, not to mention all the actual work and leadership and leading groups and teams to move the needle on these things.
Absolutely.
So we're a little bit past time. Do y'all have any parting shots or questions for us?
No, thank you so much for having us.
No, appreciate it. We don't have any questions coming in, 707-412-8922. We'll pause for just a little bit here to see if anyone has any questions for Chief or me as we wrap up the broadcast.
Start the weekend.
All right. I'll give it a minute. Maybe a beat. All right. Well, nothing heard, no questions coming in from the Center of the Aerospace Testing Universe on Friday, 25 August. We really appreciate you spending the time with us here. Chief, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, sir.
It was awesome to share the stage with you and to get to know our Warriors of the Week and to learn a whole lot about a variety of different topics today. It was great. I hope everyone enjoys the weekend. Y'all take care and have a good one.